Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. We have a great show for you today. First, Daniel Penny, the real Captain America, makes a statement. The latest on Luigi Mangione. The Karen Reed trial is going to get delayed again. Wait until you hear what the sentence is for that Las Vegas man that attacked a judge. A wrongful conviction case has finally been dismissed 30 years later. And we have this day in legal history and our dumb criminal of the day. Let's talk about it.
Hi, lawyer.
Good day, everyone. You know the drill. Subscribe if you haven't, like if you do, leave me a comment below, and hit that little bell for notifications. And you can check us out on any of your favorite podcasting applications. All right, my name is Scott Reich, and this is Crime Talk. Thanks for joining us. Now, first, go to CrimeTalkSearch.com, sign up for that background subscription service today. You're going to be happy that you did, because when you do, you're going to be able to do a background search on anyone here in the United States, and you can do as many searches as your heart desires, and you're going to get all kinds of information that the other person probably thinks you wouldn't be able to find out about them. All the emails that are associated with them, the social media accounts. Do they have a criminal history? Do they have liens, judgments? Do they own property? Are they married? Are they divorced? Yes, those things that you want to know about people coming into your life. Go to CrimeTalkSearch.com. You're going to be happy that you did. All right, let's go ahead and open the record for December 11th, 2024. First on the docket, the case of Daniel Penny. He's finally made a statement, and he has zero regrets. And he says that he could not have lived with himself and with the guilt if someone was hurt on that subway by Jordan Neely. And thank goodness he did what he did. Now, the former Marine said he would do 1 million court appearances if it meant having to go through this and show that he was correct and that nobody was hurt. Now, as you probably already know, he was acquitted as the subway vigilante because he had no choice but to subdue a deranged Jordan Neely after the vagrant threatened to kill strangers on the Manhattan subway train last year. Now, Penny, who was found not guilty of negligent homicide charges, and the district attorney dismissed the more serious charges of reckless manslaughter last week, gave a interview to a news organization, and he thought that it was a serious enough threat that he had to jump into action. Like I said, the guilt he would have felt if someone did get hurt, if he did do what he was threatening to do, he said he would never have been able to live with himself. Penny also said that he felt vulnerable and felt that he was also in danger when he grabbed Neely and put him in a chokehold aboard the Manhattan F train back in May of 2023. Now, he just threatened to kill people. He threatened to go to jail forever, to go to jail for the rest of his life, Penny said. And now I'm on the ground with him, and I'm on my back in a very vulnerable position. If I let him go, he stated, I'm on my back now. He could just turn around and do whatever he said he was going to do, including killing, hurting people. Penny described himself as non-confrontational and said, I really don't extend myself. This type of thing is very uncomfortable. All this attention and limelight is very uncomfortable to him, and he would prefer to do without it. He said he didn't want any type of attention or praise, and he still doesn't. Now, like I said, last week, the jury was deadlocked, and prosecutors asked the judge to toss the manslaughter charge and have the panel continue deliberating on the lesser homicide charge, which led to his acquittal on Monday. Now, Alvin Bragg, the worst district attorney in America, has come under some pressure since the verdict from critics who claim that Penny is a hero, not a villain, who protected subway riders from a violent and potentially dangerous vagrant. Now, without singling anyone out by name, Mr. Penny said that a lot of these people were self-serving officials who have used this fatal encounter to try and get some political game. Mr. Penny went on to say, hey, these are their policies, and I don't mean to get political, I really don't, but and he doesn't want to make any enemies, but he figures he already has. But these are their policies that have clearly not worked, that the people, the general population, are not in support of. Yet these individuals' egos are too big to agree and ultimately come to the conclusion that they were wrong. Now, lawyers for Penny are floating the possibility of a malicious prosecution lawsuit against Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, the worst district attorney in America. Now, I don't believe that Penny's legal team will be successful in this. Obviously, these individuals have governmental immunity. A judge found probable cause. I really don't see that this is really going somewhere unless you could find some smoking gun that says they knew that they weren't going to win, but they were going to do this for political reasons. I don't think anyone would be dumb enough, although it is Alvin Bragg, to put that in writing, but you never know. Anyway, the attorneys are saying that there was a blurring of ethical boundaries and failing to act in a manner which you are expected because of their office. That included pushing for an arrest, not to protect the public, but allegedly to protect Bragg's image. His attorneys allege. Now, it was the attorneys for Mr. Penny say it was clear that there was a fear that if an arrest wasn't made and made quickly, that there were going to be riots in the streets, and that that may ultimately look very bad for Alvin Bragg. And in fact, that's what happened, and that could affect his reelection. In addition to Bragg, the attorneys allege that a lawsuit could also potentially name Dr. Jason Graham, the New York City's chief medical examiner, who signed off on Neely's cause of death as a homicide by strangulation before toxicology results had even come back. Now, he was appointed by Mayor Eric Adams, same political party as Alvin Bragg, the attorneys noted, and there was collusion there, and I mean the collusion began from the very beginning of this case all the way through. The district attorney needed the medical examiner and needed the medical examiner to act quickly, and he did just that. Now, during the trial, Penny's lawyers also argued that the politically charged case unfairly carried racial undertones, highlighted by Bragg's underlings, Assistant Manhattan District Attorney Daphne Yoran, who also prosecuted the city's first ever restorative justice case on a homicide charge, resulting in a 10-year sentence for someone who snuck up on an elderly retiree and killed him for $300. There were some highlights that were put out there quite extensively in regards to the office practice of not prosecuting crime, and some very serious cases to talking about restorative justice and such, which is the way in some circumstances that's a great thing, the attorney noted. But some brutal cases of an individual who attacked an 80-year-old man, mugging him and punching him and ultimately killing him, and then you're going to go after full-throated against my client, who you admit did a laudable thing and is a fine young man. He described that as absolutely despicable. Now that the criminal case is behind him, though, guess what? Daniel Penny still faces a civil lawsuit from Neely's father, who, well, basically was never around to help and certainly wasn't around when he was running the streets as a homeless man, schizophrenic, on drugs. But I guess it's always about the money, just like we always say here. Now, Daniel Penny did receive a humanitarian award for helping hurricane victims, is a Long Island native who friends described as very calm and empathetic during trial testimony. As a young man, he played lacrosse and was in the school's orchestra as a teen and worked 2 jobs while studying architecture at the New York City College of Technology following his honorable discharge from the United States Marine Corps. Hoorah. Anyway, Neely, like I said, has a lengthy criminal history. I think he'd been arrested 76 times and had an active arrest warrant at the time of his death. He was high on a synthetic marijuana called K2, and he was schizophrenic, like I said. And where was the family out trying to help him? No. But now they're thinking, oh, my poor little son. Oh, just build a statue like Saint Floyd. I mean, seriously. Unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. You got to look at the facts. I mean, I'm so happy. I followed this case for the last year. I know a lot of people didn't have a lot of interest in it, but I mean, the DA tried to turn this into a racial thing, which it was not. And thank God the jury said that the prosecution failed to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. Unfortunately, I don't think Mr. Penny is going to be able to go after the district attorney. He has immunity. A judge found probable cause to make the case go forward. Unfortunately, that is the process, ladies and gentlemen. I have to explain that repeatedly. I had to explain it again to a client that went to trial last week where we got an acquittal of 5 charges, who had spent a large sum of money, 2 years of his life, and the stress and everything that goes with it. And all you can say is the process worked. And then you have to say, did it really? Well, it does. It just takes a long time. And unfortunately, in today's world, it's very, very expensive. Next, a little update on the Luigi Mangione case. Guess what was found at the scene? Fingerprints. That's right. Fingerprints found at the scene of the UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson's murder match those of suspected killer Luigi Mangione, according to the police. Now, the NYPD sources say that the gunman left a Kind bar and water bottle at the scene, and fingerprints on the objects have been matched to Mangione. Police reportedly also found a water bottle the suspect bought at Starbucks shortly before the murder. The fingerprints match would be the first scientific forensic evidence against Mangione to establish identity. Now, this comes after Mangione's attorney in Pennsylvania claimed that he has not seen evidence that the Ivy League graduate is to blame for Thompson's Midtown Manhattan execution last week. Now, it's targeted, precise, and doesn't risk innocence, Luigi Mangione allegedly wrote in a notebook found on him that outlined his plans for the killing of Brian Thompson. The writings described going to a bean counter conference, an investors meeting to kill a healthcare executive. Another passage read, "What do? You whack the CEO at the annual parasitic bean counter convention? It's targeted, precise, and doesn't risk innocence." In a 3-page manifesto, the suspect said that the parasites in the healthcare industry had it coming, and the suspected assassin Luigi Mangione allegedly considered bombing Manhattan as he planned out his attack on UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson. In that, though, he allegedly toyed with the idea of using a bomb to kill Thompson, but he ultimately decided against that because it could kill innocents and determined his shooting would be a little more targeted. Now, Mangione is expected to plead not guilty in both New York charges as well as the gun possession charges in Pennsylvania. And his lawyer, a guy by the name of Tom Dickey in Pennsylvania, claimed there's no evidence to suggest that Mangione is even the shooter at all. Anyway, after his client appeared at a hearing where he was denied bail, the attorney spoke to reporters at a press conference to predict Mangione's pleas. He says, "I haven't seen any evidence that says he's the shooter. The fundamental concept of the American justice is presumed innocence until you're proven guilty." I totally agree with that. His attorney's saying the right thing. Why is he even giving a press conference? Just say, "I just got retained," or "I was just appointed. We are going to make sure that our client gets a fair trial. That's our job, is to assure that his constitutional rights are protected." Instead, this lawyer gets up and comments for 10 minutes on stuff where he hasn't even looked at the discovery. He should have just kept his mouth shut, in my humble opinion. Anyway, the comments came after a court hearing that only ended when the suspect was escorted out of the courtroom, and he had a little bit of a public meltdown on Tuesday and had to be restrained as he screamed at police while heading into the hearing. The defendant, Mangione, also shouted out, "This is completely unjust and an insult to the American people," while being physically escorted by officers to the courtroom. Now take a look at this photo. It showed an irate Mangione gritting his teeth and his furrowed brow as he yelled before the cops grabbed his neck and hurried him through the courtroom door. Yeah, almost like somebody could, I don't know, maybe got some real anger issues there. Look at that. Oh, look at that face. Potential evil there, ladies and gentlemen. Now, who's going to get screwed in this whole thing? Is it going to be Mangione? I don't know. He's going to have a fan club galore, probably get a percentage of all the merch that people are doing for him. Who knows? But the guy that's going to get screwed, it's probably going to be the guy that worked at McDonald's that called it in. Apparently, there's some question of whether he's going to actually qualify for the tip because he didn't call the FBI tip line, and there actually hasn't been a conviction as of yet. So therefore, guess what? He may not get the $50,000 reward because, like I said, he called 911, not the tip number. And that all took place in Altoona, Pennsylvania. For him to get the money, it has to go through a process, a panel, and the New York's police and the FBI have to decide if basically the person is worthy of that money, if there's a conviction. But as of yet, the money has not been distributed. Now, there are other people who are willing to give money to Mangione. There's a Give, Send, Go page that has raised $30,000 of its $200,000 goal to help the alleged killer, Luigi, in regards to his legal defense fund. Now, I'm not sure if his family's going to step up, but apparently they have means, so it makes you wonder. Anyway, the people that did set up the GoFundMe page say, hey, we're not here to celebrate violence, but we do believe in the constitutional right to fair and legal representation, which I totally agree to. Everyone is entitled to a defense, no matter the crime in which you are accused of doing, and whether you are absolutely guilty or wrongfully accused, you have a right to be represented, and somebody has to do it. So hats off to the any attorney that takes his case. We certainly give old Luigi the presumption of innocence, and if you're one of those people that has got the Luigi Mangione tattoo, send it to us. We'd love to have you on the show. A picture, your contact information, and love to hear what your rationale is. I understand insurance companies suck. Insurance companies are evil, but we cannot go around killing executives of companies. That is wrong. And then there's also that people actually put up like wanted posters in New York today that had other CEOs of health insurance companies up there basically saying that they're wanted. Now, those have been taken down, but come on, people. We can't go around advocating the killing of people because we don't like the business that they are in. Take it from a guy who's had death threats over the years for representing people. It's just not nice, all right? Be nice, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody's entitled to legal representation, and no matter what you do. So just remember that, ladies and gentlemen. It's a fundamental tenet of our constitutional system. Next, the Karen Read trial has been delayed again. That's right. The anticipated retrial for Karen Read on charges of murder, where she allegedly murdered her police officer boyfriend, has been delayed as both sides prepare to head to court to argue over some key rulings as it relates to evidence. Now, Read is facing several charges, including second-degree murder in the death of her now deceased boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe, who was found dead in the snow after a night of drinking. Now, prosecutors maintain that Read struck O'Keefe with her SUV and then left him to die in the snow, while Read's defense has maintained her innocence and has instead alleged that she is being framed amid a massive cover-up against O'Keefe's or by O'Keefe's fellow officers. Now, her first trial ended in a mistrial in July after the jury could not come to a unanimous decision. Now, the retrial has been scheduled to begin next month. However, Read and prosecutors submitted a joint motion requesting a delay. Judge Cannon agreed to push the start back, but both sides want additional time to prepare for a trial because of additional evidence and experts that they plan to present at this next trial. Prosecutors are trying to block Read's defense from introducing some expert testimony from a Dr. Mari Russell, who the defense has put forward as someone who will testify that O'Keefe's injuries were the result of dog bites rather than being hit by a car. Now, Russell testified in Read's first trial, but prosecutors have asked Judge Cannon to exclude her testimony from the retrial. Her testimony will be the subject of the hearing on December 12th, which is tomorrow, and prosecutors will attempt to challenge her status as an expert and the testimony the defense wants to introduce. This is known as a Daubert hearing, basically saying, hey, we don't believe that these opinions are reliable. Now, normally the judge shouldn't get too far involved if there's some scientific basis for the opinion and let the jury decide, but the judge does hold the role as the gatekeeper of that evidence, so we'll see how that comes out. As I said, the judge will weigh whether the expert meets the requirements of relevance to the case, meeting qualifications, knowledge of facts, and reliability of principles of scientific information that they're relying upon. Like I said, while the joint motion to delay the start of the trial was proposed, a new start date of April 1st of 2025, Judge Cannon's order granting the delay notes that the scheduling matters will be discussed on December 12th. Takes forever, ladies and gentlemen. Takes forever, but we'll be there bringing it to you. Karen Read case. Now, let's face it, the defense always has a much lower probability of winning second time around. The prosecution knows what your defense is, and they are going to try and derail the defense, just like they're trying to do now, to keep the expert off the stand. And if not, they're going to take an extra bite at it by getting her under cross-examination to attack her opinions and see what she says to defend it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, next on the docket. Remember that guy that did the flying act over the judge's bench in Las Vegas? Yeah, it didn't turn out so well for him. So the man who attacked the judge by leaping over the bench during a sentencing hearing for another case earlier this year has now been sentenced to at least 26 years in prison for that act. Deborah Redden. It's a guy, but his name is Deborah, Deobra. Deborah Redden attacked Las Vegas District Court Judge Mary Kay Holthus on January 3rd this year in an incident captured on video from the courtroom. But another judge who sentenced the man says that the attack was an assault on the entire judiciary. Now, prosecutors had asked that Johnson be put away for a substantial prison time, while Redden's attorneys suggested his sentence be served concurrently with his existing time behind bars from the attempted battery case that the Judge Holthus was actually sentencing him on the day when he attacked her. Now, according to the transcripts, the Judge Johnson denied the request to serve the time concurrently and sentenced Redden to a term of 26 to 65 years with some credit for time served. So that means he'll be eligible at the 26-year mark, but he could do the entire 65 years. Now, he will reportedly be eligible for parole in 2050, hence supporting my notion that is supported by research that if you commit violent crimes, you have to go to prison until you are too old to be able to get out and harm anybody else. This just ought about do it. Anyway, Mr. Redden spoke at his sentencing, because you always have a right of allocution at the sentencing hearing, and insisted that he's not an evil person and that really all of his problems go back to, well, when he was a kid, when he started getting in trouble repeatedly, over and over and over. Judge, I'm a little disappointed. Instead of the 26, I would have gone with the much higher number. I would have said at least 50, 55, something along those lines. And yes, it is a complete attack on the judiciary. That's why you used to have very strict sentences for people that attack judges, people that attack police officers. Here in Colorado, it used to be mandatory prison time, 5 to 16 years if you attacked a police officer. If it was a misdemeanor on a police officer, it was 2 years and a day mandatory in prison. Now, it's probation, if you get it. Probation, ladies and gentlemen. Next, charges dismissed in a 30-year-old case. So murder charges officially been dismissed against Margaret Rudin, also known as the Black Widow of Las Vegas. Now, the charges were dismissed in court on Monday with prejudice, meaning they cannot bring the charges back again. Needless to say, she is happy. Well, the legal effect is that Margaret has never been convicted legally of any crimes, and she can never be re-prosecuted, according to her attorneys. Now, how this all came about was the disappearance of a wealthy Las Vegas real estate developer by the name of Ron Rudin nearly 30 years ago, and the subsequent conviction of his wife, Margaret, for his murders was one of Nevada's most watched trials. Now, the husband went missing in 1994. Weeks later, his burned and decapitated remains were found in a desolate area near Lake Mead. Years later, facing indictment, Margaret went on the run for 2 years. She was eventually caught during a nationwide manhunt after she changed identity several times. She was charged with her husband's murder in 2001 and sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 20 years. Now, Margaret absolutely maintained her innocence throughout her entire incarceration. Then in 2022, the United States District Court of Nevada, in a habeas proceedings, found Margaret had not received a fair trial, was wrongfully convicted, and was entitled to release. Now, Margaret is currently litigating a wrongful conviction action against the state of Nevada for her 20 years of wrongful incarceration. Now, her attorneys will file an amended version of the wrongful conviction complaint against the state, including the dismissal of charges. Her lawsuit was made possible by a statute in 2019 to address the rights of people wrongfully convicted by the state. Needless to say, they are looking for compensation to cover the cost of damages associated with the case and for its acknowledgement that Margaret is an innocent woman, according to her attorneys. Ms. Rudin, the complete optimist, said as it relates to whether she'll actually receive a certificate of innocence, knowing Nevada and the way they've treated me so far, Rudin said, "I'd like to see it before I die." Anyway, the estate And Rudin's attorneys will have an official order worked out in the next 10 days for the judge to officially sign. Good for her. Hang in there. 20 years in prison, and you finally get out, and you were wrongfully convicted. Geez, a decapitated, burned guy in Nevada, real estate developer. Gee, I couldn't think of any possible other suspects on that case. Could you? I don't know. Mob, Las Vegas, mob. Just throwing that out there. Next on the docket, this day in legal history. On December 11th, 2000, the United States Supreme Court heard oral arguments in the Bush v. Gore presidential recount case. They ultimately denied the counting of the hanging chads in Florida. Bush won the election. Gore went off to get massages by his masseuses, gets divorced, and I think he's still the board member for Apple. I think things worked out just okay for him. Then on this day in 1816, Indiana becomes the 19th state. That's right, they were admitted to the Union, expanding the United States territory. And then on this date, December 11th, 1941, Germany and Italy declare war on the United States. Following the U.S. declaration of war on Japan, Germany and Italy declared war on the United States, leading to the U.S. responding in kind. Then in 1978, we had the Lufthansa heist. That's right, armed robbers stole approximately $5.8 million from the Lufthansa cargo terminal at JFK Airport, which was one of the largest cash thefts in U.S. history, and leading to an extensive criminal investigation. And in this day in 1998, the House Judiciary Committee approves the impeachment articles against President Bill Clinton for, his alleged cigar and blue dress incident with the now famous Monica Lewinsky. Well, actually, it was for lying, but it all came out of that. He was impeached for lying because he did not have sexual relations with that woman. That's what he said. He did. They had the stains on the blue dress to prove it. I'm not sure if they got the cigar, but they had the blue stains. That's for sure. And he ultimately admitted to it, but he did lose his law license over that, ladies and gentlemen, for lying under oath in a federal deposition. Anyway, next, our dumb criminal of the day. Take a look at this video. A Utah man took a little buyer's remorse to the next level after his Subaru Outback had mechanical issues hours after the purchase. Now, when the dealership told him it was as is and it meant no refunds, he allegedly promised to turn their front door into a driveway. Police said he wasn't bluffing. By afternoon, he'd crashed the car straight into the Tim Dahl Mazda dealership. Thank goodness no one was hurt, but employees were a little shaken up. Kind of a close call. Needless to say, now, instead of a refund, he's facing criminal mischief and reckless endangerment charges, and probably not getting his deposit back either. That's going to go to the restitution, and he's still going to own money for that car. Now, some people, I'm not a big Subaru fan. I'm not, but I've known family members that swear by them. They love them. They run forever. So the fact that it had mechanical issues, probably the reason why it was being sold as is, used, because Subarus usually run forever. But anyway, unidentified Utah man, you are a dumb criminal of the day. You could have just parked it there, left it there, done something, but driving it through the front door, ooh, that's dumb. Oh, one more thing. I forgot. This is a bonus. So I've been getting a battle box for, I don't know, a year and a half now. And this is not a paid thing. But everyone keeps saying we should do an unboxing here on CrimeTalk. All right? So I don't know what's in it. But every month, about this time, the 10th or 11th of the month, I get a box from BattleBox. And it's like the supreme member. It's funny. I get all these knives that I can't carry with me because I go in and out of securities all day long. So we're opening it up, and let's see what we get today. And most of it usually winds up out of the hanger in my zombie apocalypse preparedness corner that we have out there. All right, so we got some packing here. Let's see. First thing we've got, let's take a look at it. What is this? Like I said, every month is a surprise. This is a sharpener of some type. Combo knife sharpener. Okay? Because I need to sharpen knives all the time, right? You betcha. Closer. All right. All right, so we got a knife sharpener. Never know when you're going to need that. Let's see. I think the theme today is definitely knife related. Let's see. Of course, if I had a knife, I could do this and I wouldn't have to use a pair of scissors that I got from my desk here. This appears to be some other kind of knife. Let's take a look at it. Nope. Oh, yep, it's another knife. Look at this. It's another knife, but it's a knife and a little carrier. So I got that going for me. And fortunately, I have the knife sharpener as well. Then what do we have here? We have some hydration boost replenishment dietary supplement in case I get lost in the woods. I have some sort of tool here. Some sort of tool. Let's take a look at it. Looks like it's some sort of hex key kind of thing. Like I said, this is a surprise every month. You never know what you're going to get. Yeah, well, it looks like some sort of tool. Not really sure. Let's see what we got here. The groove, some sort of a mat of some type. Oh, it appears to be some sort of charger, I do believe. Some sort of charger mat, I think. Keyring, or some sort of, I don't know, some sort of tray or something. I don't know, it's not a charger. I think it's some sort of tray to put all your stuff on. Probably all your knives. And oh, look at what we got here. Something that says, "We made it sharp." Let's see what this is. That looks like another knife. Look at this. Like I said, this is not, like, everybody needs an axe, do they not? Look at that. It's always a surprise. You never know what you're going to get. I'm kind of curious as to what this little hex key thing is here. Oh, we got a little explanation. It's an EDC mat. If you have a bunch of stuff, carry it daily, tactical design, those pocket dumps at the end of the day. All right, just a little tray. The electrolytes, a tactical silica key. Oh, it's a key also known as a water key or faucet key. It's a small tool used to turn on and off water valves outside. Interesting. Didn't know that. And then, of course, look, it is an electric work sharp combo knife sharpener. It's electric, and you actually just stick the knife in there. We got our Yankee axe by Fox, Italy, and then our K-Tactical knife by Doug Marcotta. There you go. Battle box, ladies and gentlemen, because who doesn't need two knives, sharp objects in one day? There you go. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.